Hi everybody, I just want to take a few minutes of your time to share my story and how I got into Soundbaths and why they're so important to me. And they mean a whole lot to me. So I was not always like this. I was not into meditation or sound healing at all. This started with something really personal, and I think for some of you it might really resonate. So before the pandemic, I was super energetic, optimistic, outgoing, traveled a lot, moving all the time. Like if you knew me, you knew I was out from 5:30 in the morning until 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, working and just keeping myself busy. But when COVID happened, I realized that I could have empathy with others for depression, but I never really truly knew what it felt like. And during COVID, when everything changed for everybody, it was a really hard time for me. I went through a really bad breakup right as the world shut down. And then about 6 months later, I moved to LA for a lot of reasons, but things just got heavier. I gained weight. I couldn't motivate myself. I didn't feel like myself. I didn't know how to get out of the funk that I was in. Honestly, didn't even realize that something like a morning routine held so much value. And things like that just kind of disappeared with that working from home stuff. Eventually, I reached a point where I could travel a little bit, and I booked my first solo trip ever to Palm Desert Springs area. And I booked a week long. We got the week off of Thanksgiving in California schools, and that was like the fall break. So I thought, I'm gonna do this. We can go somewhere. So before I left, my coworker, he casually said to me, "You should try a sound bath," while we were there. Well, things got hectic a little later that day, and I never got to ask him what he meant by that. What was it, and what should I do? So when I was out there, like the second or third day, it was like, oh yeah, Mark said I should do a sound bath. So I started looking it up, and I found the Integratron room, which is in Joshua Tree. So I booked it for that Friday morning. Since Thursday was Thanksgiving, they were closed. And so I booked it for Friday evening I booked it for. And I had no idea what I was doing. I literally wore a bathing suit under my clothes, thinking that you got into like a bathtub or everybody got into water and you listened to water or sounds while you were in the bath. Literally zero clue, okay? There was a bathing suit underneath my clothes when I went. So when I got there, I quickly realized as I climbed up the little stairs, I was like, how can there be bathtubs up on top of this second floor? Doesn't look like it could support a whole bunch of bathtubs. I realized that there were no bathtubs, so I quickly just kind of hid, made sure no one could see my ignorance around sound baths. So you laid down on yoga mats, we put on the eye masks, everybody laid down, it went dark, there was some guiding into laying down, and then sound played, and then we got up, and then we went on our way. And I remembered going downstairs and like just kind of not knowing how I felt, but I did feel really peaceful. There was hammocks everywhere, so I laid in a hammock and there was a million stars, which was beautiful because in LA I could never see stars like I could at home in Hawaii. So I stayed there for quite some time, and then finally I got up. My body was feeling a little heavy but really relaxed. So went back to the hotel. The next morning was Saturday, so I had to check out, and I decided, you know what, I've been out here for a week in the desert. Let me go to the ocean. So it's only a couple hours when you're in LA, and there was no traffic since it was Thanksgiving weekend. So I drove to Redondo Beach, and I ended up on the boardwalk, and then there was this oyster place, and I love myself a raw oyster. So I ordered, got some raw oysters, found this really nice guy, and he was explaining the different types to me, so I told him to pick 6. So he picked 3 briny ones and 3 sweet ones. So I had 6 oysters. In the second oyster, I found a pearl. I could not believe it. So I got on my phone, I was like, what's the chances of this? Well, it's 1 in 10,000. So then I felt really lucky. I'm like, wow. So the sound bath made me calm and peaceful and lucky. It felt like a gift, a symbol, a sign, a path on the synchronicity. It really, something in that just completely shifted my energy. And then about 9 months later, I started really feeling myself again. I was getting into routines in the morning, really solid routines in the evening, and then I started journaling. And the journaling really made the shift for me. So if you know me, you know that's probably why I created a whole bunch of journals, hoping that they reach people, because journaling, the pen to paper every morning, and sometimes in the evening, really, I don't know, something about that habit that I'll never let go of really made the shift for me. So about 9 months later, I came back home to Hawaii and really started thinking about sound baths and trying to find them here, and I couldn't really find too many here. So I had integrated travel into my life. So I went to Peru, came back, went to Sedona, came back, Montana, came back over the course of a year. And every time I went away, I got a sound bath and it started to feel really good. So finally here in Hawaii, I found a sound bath. I found it on the beach in Waikiki on Moana with Kaori, and I took sound bath class from her. And what I wanted to do was bring it to the community that I work in, because kids in our community, I work in the schools, go through a lot of trauma, and I thought nothing would feel better for them than some sound baths. So I wanted to bring it there. So I took classes from her, and eventually later I took Reiki, which I haven't started to use yet except to myself, but I do plan to integrate that. But I did sound baths for the schools, and some of the kids were like, wow, miss, I haven't felt that peaceful in so many years. I haven't felt that calm. So I'm trying really hard to bring it to a community of people out here, and as many as I can. So that's why I'm putting it on YouTube for free, so you can listen. It's not the same as in person, but I hope it brings you some peace. And I just wanted to get that story out there. And honestly, sound baths have been some of the most powerful healing tools I've ever encountered. And I'm inviting you to share this with anyone who needs it, or yourself if you're feeling overwhelmed or lost or tired. I hope it helps you as much as it helped me. And if you're in Hawaii, I hope you can come to one of my sound baths. Well, I want to thank you for listening. And from my heart to yours, I really, really appreciate you. Peace.